want to talk to you about is pursuing your dreams with passion. Pursuing your dreams with passion. So, we're going to answer a series of questions. First question being, is my dream worth it? The second question is, do I have what it takes? The third question is, getting to the top. So we're going to answer 3 series of questions. Is my dream really worth it? Question number 2. Do I have what it takes? Question number 3. Getting to the top. So, pursuing your dreams with passion. A lot of people are like, I don't know what that is. Okay? Do you have a dream? Of course. Everybody has a dream. Martin Luther King had a dream. I have a dream. You have a dream. Mommy and daddy have a dream, right? Everybody dreams about something. Everybody wants to be something. Whether they want to be an astronaut, whether they want to be a famous ball player, whether they want to be a hockey player, whether they want to be an entertainer, whether they want to be a professional poet, whatever. Everybody has a dream, right? So within those dreams, you start to ask yourself, you conjure up, God gives you an idea, right? He gives you a vision, okay? You're like, man, I've been studying so hard to be this great scholar, or I want to work for NASA, I want to be an astronaut, right? As you grow in your life, you ask yourself that question over and over and over and over again. Is my dream worth it? 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 Over a course, a series, a period of time in your life. And the answer is yes. Yes, your dream is worth it. But not only is your dream worth it, you got to believe in what you speak. You have to feel what you speak. You have to believe and feel and know what you speak. So if you tell yourself, I'm going to be this great success in this, or I'm going to be a great success in that, I'm going to be a great entrepreneur, I'm going to be a great businessman or woman, I'm going to be a great scholar, a great speaker, right? As you get older, you start to say, is my dream worth it? You start telling yourself, yes, it's worth it. It's worth it. It's worth it. I want this. I want this. I want this. I want this. So you start thinking like, as you get older, you start growing over a course period of time, and things start to get hard. Things will start to get hard. Adversity will start to happen. Life will start to happen. People will start cashing their opinions on your dreams. Oh, and for the record, I'm about to drop a serious nugget, okay? I need you to listen to me very, very carefully. Very, very carefully. Do you know the #1 death dealer to any big dream? Any dream. If the answer is no, I'm about to tell you the answer. If you want to find somebody to kill your dream really quick, and I mean kill it stone dead to the point where it's beyond, it's below the grave, beyond, somewhere far out there. If you want somebody to kill your dream extremely quickly, tell it to a small-minded person. Tell it to a small-minded person. The first thing they would tell you is it's impossible. The second thing they'll tell you, you'll never get it. And then they'll even go so far as being sarcastic, and they'll tell you, man, I sure hope you succeed. But in their mind, they don't finish the sentence. They don't speak it out loud, but I'm going to finish it for you. I hope you succeed, but I know you'll never get it. Because do you know why they feel like that? You know why they say things like that? Because it's not theirs. They don't have that. They don't have the power within them to say, I can make that manifest, or I got that ability, I can do that. And another thing is, it's yours. Own it. Can't nobody take it away from you. So if you want somebody to kill your dreams, talk to small-minded people. People who can't see vision. People who can't think on a larger scale. Or people who don't want to think on a larger scale. People who's always being a negative Nancy. People who's always speaking bad things before the good things even manifest. People who always walk around here with a piss poor attitude. People who's always walking around here with a rock on their shoulder. Talk to those people. If you got a big dream, if you want somebody to kill your dream and snatch the wind up out of your lungs, talk to a small-minded person. But what I will advise you to do is not to do that. And the reason why I will advise you not to do that is because God granted you a vision. God gave you an idea. And you're like, man, God, I don't know how, I don't know when. I don't know how this is going to happen. Like, this is so far above me. And God said, yes, I know it is. It's above your physical attribute. I know this. But I gave you the vision. I gave you the tools. I put the plan, the idea before you. Because I know that what I place inside of you, you got the power to make it manifest. That's why I said, in my last video, we talked about the manifestation of words, the power of words. In the video before that, we talked about purpose. Everything lines up according to purpose, a divine-driven goal. Nothing can stop it. Nothing can break it. So as you go on in life, you start thinking, as you get older, is my dream worth it? If it's 5 years that went by and you haven't hit your goal, or you haven't hit that success, or you haven't hit that wealth, or you haven't hit that financial freedom, or you haven't hit that time freedom, after 5 to 10 years, you're just going and going and going and going and going, and you're like, man, is my dream really worth it? Is my dream really worth it? And you still continue to tell yourself yes, and you're getting tired, you're getting burned out, but you continue to say yes. Then come pause question number 2. Do you have the will to keep going? Do you have the will to fight it out? Do you have the will to keep going, to keep charging forward, to keep going, to never stop, even when it feels like it's impossible? Do you have the will and the power within yourself to dig deeper than belief, to keep going? That is a serious question. Because over a serious period of time, most people start a lot of things every single day. They be excited. They get up. They're like, man, I'm going to make this happen. I haven't gotten it all together yet, but I'm excited about it. But as time goes on, and you keep questioning yourself, is my dream worth it? And you keep telling yourself, yes. Then you start saying, it's getting hard on me. It's getting tough on me. Because life happened, adversity hit. But the first thing you got to remember is the vision that God gave you and the idea that God gave you and the plan that God gave you, it's bigger than you. And once you get in that mindset and you start thinking like, man, it's bigger than me, then you'll be able to answer that question. Do I have the will to keep going? Do I have the power to keep going? Can I fight through adversity? Then you start telling yourself, yes, 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 yes. Because you realize the vision that God has given you, and you realize the idea that God has given you, and you realize the tools that God has set before you, you start to saying, I can't push through this because God, you gave it to me. You know, it's mine. I gotta own this thing. So therefore, I'm gonna push when life happens, when adversity happens. I mean, people go through some really, really bad stuff. And I mean, like, they have this wonderful, beautiful plan, that vision, and a vision that God has given them. And then all of a sudden, life starts to happen. They start going through stuff. The kids start acting up, or they may be getting in trouble, or they may be going through a divorce, or their spouse may have cheated on them, or they may hit a they may hit a wall at their job, or they may took a financial plunge, you know, or somebody may have died in the family, or, you know, they may have suffered a illness or a disease or something. But life happens, adversity happens, and then you start to question yourself. I mean, you start to say, man, God, and you still be asking yourself, do I have the will to keep going? Do I have the power to push through? And that's why I said you gotta pursue your dreams with passion. That's why I always say these things. You always gotta think what you speak into the atmosphere become manifest. But you gotta understand, even before you speak things into the atmosphere, you're born with a purpose, a divine driven mission. So therefore, anything that lines up with purpose cannot be stopped. So, but you know, you're human, you're carnal, you're going through things are running through your mind while you're trying to bring this plan into fruition. Things are happening, constantly happening around you. May be negative, may be positive, but things constantly happen. Life is keep throwing you around in a circle, and then you just get down. You start to cry, your eyes full of water because you're trying to make this happen, but life keeps doing this to you. But you're trying to make this happen, but life keeps throwing things at you, and you keep asking God, like, God, I don't know if I can take it anymore. I don't know if I can do this. I don't know why you gave this to me. I'm failing. I'm just going through a lot right now. Then you start saying, man, God, I don't know if I can do this. Like, God, why did you choose me? And then you're like, God, why is this always happening to me? Why do these bad things keep happening in my life? And then you start saying, God, can I really do this? And he answers you, yes, yes, you can. Yes, you can. And you're like, God, how can I when I'm going through this so much? Because I gave it to you. I gave the vision to you. I gave the plan to you. And I equipped you with the tools to get it done, period. And so what I realized in my life, you know, as I grew older, I'm 32 years old, I realized certain events in my life happened for a reason. And not all the events that happened in my life were good. I had some really, really bad experiences. I'm going to share one personally. I'm not going to really get into all the crazy details, but the year 2004, 2005, I was a junior studying to be a senior in high school. I was working a job at McDonald's. I had a best friend. We had a very impactful discussion about spirituality and God. He got mad at me. And he asked me why I always read my Bible every single day on lunch break when he wanted to talk about other things and have other subject topics, which were cool. We're guys, we're young teenagers, you know. And I said, well, I like to have some type of word or scripture in me to get me through the day. And he just said his faith was wavering. He didn't really have very much faith. And so we was goofing off in the back. So he always said because he found things that wasn't right or people wasn't right in the church, and he just kind of strayed away from it. So I asked him a question. I said, what has to happen for you to be reassured of your faith and believe in God again? And my friend chuckled and laughed. He was my best friend at the time. He chuckled and laughed. He said, a miracle has to happen. Around about 9 o'clock that night, maybe like 3 or 4 hours before closing, my sister came to the store and asked, do we want to hang out? We said, sure. She said, well, meet us here at this spot at this time. I said, all right, we'll be there. He pulls up, picks me up. We start to drive. We take a drive down on the back country road. No street lights. And all of a sudden, a series of events was happening in the back, behind the shadows. A car pulls up behind us, going with a tremendous speed. You know, we're in an old 80, like a 88, 86 Mustang with no air conditioning, with the windows down. It's hot. I look to the side and realize a shadow figure, you know, in the truck beside us, in the vehicle beside us, on the opposite side of the road. Guy gets back behind us, pulls up again. I tell my friend before he pulls up again, you know, it's Friday night, people are, you know, out having fun, you know, getting drunk or whatever. I told my friend, I said, if he pulls up again, you know, just let him go on by because he's probably drunk trying to get home, and you know, you don't really want to cause an accident. Guy pulls up again. Next thing you know, we see gunfire. Bang, bang, pow, pow, you know, shooting out rounds. And we was like, wow. You know, my friend never thought to hit the brake, and I never thought to tell him. So what wound up happening is, the guy was shooting down at an angle in the vehicle. The third shot that he shot through the vehicle grazed my best friend's neck. It was the first bullet that pierced mine. The man shot off 4 more rounds. And as he was shooting, I didn't even know he hit me 2 more times. But what I did know was that he did shoot me once. So after he gets done shooting, he darts on down the road, speeds in front of us, going about his business. I tapped my friend on the shoulder a couple of times. He was so upset, and like he was talking to himself, he was fussing, and he wasn't really even paying me any attention until I told him, I said, hey, take me to the hospital. He didn't believe me. He thought I was playing around. He thought that, you know, maybe it was a little shock or a scare until said, take me to the hospital. And he was like, what's wrong with you? I was like, I got shot. Take me to the hospital. And he still was in disbelief. So what I did was I took my hand out of my shirt and showed my friend all that blood. He panicked. He freaked out. Turned the car around, in a cow pasture. Turned the car around. Darted me to the hospital at a tremendous speed. It was at that very given moment where I had my first PDM. Your personal defining moment. I was 17 years old when that happened. I get to the hospital, and on the way to the hospital, I was praying to God. I was like, I'm 17. God, I haven't fulfilled my purpose, my destiny. I haven't had a family. I haven't had any children. I haven't gotten married. And on the way to the hospital, all I could hear in the soundness of my mind, not that I was in a whole lot of pain, not that it was excruciating, not that I was freaking out, but all I could hear in my mind was the stillness and soundness of my heartbeat just going. Very, very slowly. And as I get to the hospital, my friend darts towards the door. He beats on the door because it's locked. It's late at night. It's a little small hospital. And it's locked. He's freaking out. He's beating on the door. The nurse is scared to death because she don't know what to think because he's so upset. I am still in the car. He realizes I'm still in the car. He snatches me through a window. He carries me with one arm while darting towards the door. And the first thing she asks him is like, can I help you? He screams at her. And he said, can you please get my friend some help? Like, he's been shot. Can you get him some help? They take me into the room. They put me on the bed. I'll never forget it. Craziest thing in the world. I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, I'm about to die. Like, I'm about to die. Like, I kept telling the nurse, I just want to go to sleep. I want to go to sleep. I want to go to sleep. I want to go to sleep. And she just like, no, baby, you can't go to sleep because if you go to sleep, you might not wake up. I'm like, I'm just really tired. I really want to nap. I really can't talk. My voice hurts. And so she put me in the bed. She walks out the room for about 2 minutes. She comes back. I'll never forget her words. She looked at me. She kind of leaned over. She looked at me. And she said, oh, you're going to be just fine. The bullet just grazed you. I looked at her like, oh Lord, I'm really gonna die, God. Like, this nurse is nuts. Like, I'm looking over at my shoulder. I have like a gash wound about that big in my shoulder. And she tells me a bullet just grazed me when I can literally stick my thumb in my shoulder. And I'm just like, oh yeah, it's over, God. I'm coming to meet you. And so by that time that they actually sent me off to get some real help, they shipped me out to another hospital, DCH Regional Medical Hospital. They shipped me off to Tuscaloosa. I got up there, and like by that time I left, my family had made it out there. All my siblings had made it there. My mom has come off for a job. My little sister is there. And then I get in the ambulance, and all I can remember in my mind still is like the soundness of my heartbeat. That's all I could hear. And I remember the nurse in the ambulance was asking me, could I make a fist? And you know, I didn't make a fist, I made a fish. I thought she said fish, but she really said fist, but I guess she just wanted to know if I was responsive. So when I get to the hospital, they rushed me into immediate surgery. The doctor already told my mom it was a very slim chance that I was gonna survive, that they was already losing me. I really didn't have a pulse. That was the first time. That was the first thing the doctor told my mom. He might not make it. First, they rushed me into immediate surgery. I get in there. They instantly start operating. I remember like it was yesterday. I was talking to my mom before they took me in that room, and I was letting her know she had to defend my friend. Because if she didn't defend my friend, he was gonna go to prison for something for a very long time that he didn't do. And I didn't want that. And so she didn't even say anything. She wasn't responsive. She was just looking into my eyes. So as they had me on the operating table and they was cutting me, I remember hearing one of the doctors saying he lost me. And I remember them going out to tell my mom again that I had died, that I did not make it. And as I'm hearing them say these things, I'm realizing that I am standing up straight, looking at me on the table, looking at me on the hospital bed, looking at them cut me, looking at them operate on me, looking at them trying to revive me. And the only thing that was going through my mind at the time, at the age of 17 years old, the only thing that was going through my mind at the time was, God, am I really dead? Like, is this for real? Like, I'm literally watching me. You know, I'm watching myself. And I'm like, God, am I really dead? And at that point in time, God didn't answer me. So what wound up happening is, I remember I died with my eyes open. My eyes were wide awake. And I remember seeing myself for the last time. I had God knows how many needles pent up, like a pin cushion. Like I had IV needles everywhere. And I was a real mess. My chest was torn, busted open. I was a mess. And all I can remember while I was talking to God, watching myself float through this building, through the hospital, the very next thing I know, I woke up in a very strange, beautiful, comfortable, immaculate, magnificent place. And as I walked around, I was like, man, this must be paradise. I had on no clothes. Everything I looked around was very beautiful, beautifully colored. Like, I couldn't paint these colors if I wanted to. This is how surreal, unreal it was. I couldn't paint the colors if I wanted to. And as I walked around, it was so peaceful. I saw animals, the birds was chirping, there were deers. They had all these beautiful autumn colors, and I said, yeah, this must be my piece of paradise that God promised me, because I love the fall. The fall is my favorite season for anybody who doesn't know. I love the fall. I love everything about autumn, everything. And so as I walked around, the animals led me to a river, a stream. And as I looked at the stream sparkled. It sparkled so clearly. The water was so pure. And I was like, this must be good to drink. And the animals love me. It's almost like we had this type of harmony where I don't speak rabbit or bird or deer. I don't speak that language, but it's just like they understood me. They understood my. And it was like, okay, so I'm still walking around with that thought in my head. That question like, God, am I really dead? Is this really real? So what I do is I come to like the stream, I sit down, and you know, I'm just enjoying the beautiful scenery. I'm just enjoying this paradise, this peace, this calmness, this stillness, this perfect harmony that I feel amongst the earth, above the earth. And I'm just like, man. And as I laid down, I closed my eyes, I found myself that I have ascended again. And this time I am walking on clouds. And I thought I would feel so many emotions walking on clouds, because I never seen a human walk on clouds before. So as I'm walking on these clouds, I'm going up these steps, and I'm still asking myself, like, God, am I really dead? God, is this really real? God, is this really happening to me? You know, and God still has not yet to answer me. And so what wound up happening is I come to this gate. It was a golden gate. It was eternally tall. It stretched for an eternity, north, south, east, and west. It was golden all around. And I was like, man, this is a huge gate. And as I came to the gate opened, and I was like, I asked again, God, am I really dead? I'm looking around, I'm seeing all these beautiful, wonderful angels, I'm hearing all these angelic sounds, and I'm like, God, am I really dead? I said, this must be the place of judgment that you talked about in the Revelation. This is getting scary, you know, because I'm only 17. I don't know what I did from last year to yesterday, you know, I can't remember, but I'm like, am I really dead? And like, the only thing God said to me in that moment, in that PDM, in that instant, the only thing God said to me, he said, are you ready? And I got excited. I'm like, yes, I want to go. You know, I want to go. I want to stay. I don't want to go back to earth. There's a lot of pain, suffering, and all sorts of bad things going down there. I don't want to go back to earth. I don't want to go. And I told him, yes, I wanted to go. So God welcomed me in. He embraced me. He loved on me. And as we walked and we talked, it was just like, it was so crazy. And I was just like, man, I'm like walking hand in hand, you know, with God. I'm talking, I'm speaking with God. You know, I'm like, this is like unbelievable. Surreal, unreal is what I call it. I still call it that. And so as I'm walking and talking with God, God allowed me to do two things. He said, here, son, in your left hand, I'm going to place 7 stars. In your right hand, I'm going to place 4 clouds. I want you to step out on them 4 clouds first, and I want you to look down. He allowed me to look from heaven onto the earth. The earth is about that big. But as I looked upon the earth, I looked straight into the hospital. I saw my family. And I saw all these things that was attached to my family. And I was like, man, I saw their pain, their suffering, their weeps and their sorrows. I even heard their prayers. But what I saw spiritually, what was attached to them was not good. These were like really bad spirits. These were like really dark spirits that was on them, because even though they was emotional, this is what was going through their mind. Murder, revenge, wrath, doubt, lies, guilt. I saw all these spirits on my family. And I remember my 2 sisters was in the chapel praying for me, crying out to God, you know, save me, you know, my brother, help my brother, help my brother, help my brother. I remember seeing my dad. My dad would not come into the room. My dad went onto the outside of the room. He sat there. He wasn't talking. My mom was still in shock. I saw her. She was still in shock with her eyes open. She didn't say anything. She didn't shed not one tear. I remember hearing my sister and her husband pray over my bed. And they were beautiful prayers. They were sitting up to heaven. I was hearing all this, but God heard the prayer of one righteous child. At the time, that's my little baby sister. She was about 8 or 9 years old. I believe she was 8 years old. I don't remember clearly, but she was very young when this happened. And all I remember is she cried to God, not a cry out. She climbed on the bed. She was the one that closed my eyes. She told God, she said, I only have one brother. Please don't take him from me now. She allowed one tear to fall from her face to my face, and I felt that from the earth to the heavens. And I jumped up and I said, God, I don't understand. I don't understand. And God said, I said, why did you allow me to hear and see all these things? Because God said, son, before the world began, before you was born, I knew what I placed inside of you. You was purpose. The day you came into the world, you was already set apart. You was already divinely driven, mission purposed. Because as I grew up, I didn't have the easiest life growing up. I was not the most popular kid. I didn't have the most friends. You know, even if I went out and I hung out in a group, I was always the all ones singled out. It was just like I did not fit in. I just did not belong. I was not the most athletic. You know, I had a lot of issues. You know, I was short. I was skinny. I had a confidence issue at one point. You know, I had a lot of things going on. But God had brought it all into perspective. He had brought it all into manifestation. He had brought it all into fruition. You know, I done dealt with abuse. I done dealt with a whole lot of stuff in my life, you know. And it was just crazy how God could just take a PDM, one single person defining moment, and shift your life and make your life that you didn't see that made any sense up until that one moment, and put it all into perspective for you. And then he tells you that before you were born, I had already set you apart to do my will. That's why you have the type of heart that you have. That's why you love the way you love. Even when people do you wrong, you have a heart of forgiveness. You can love them like ain't nothing happened. That you always just want to love on people. That you're so friendly. That your energy is so warm. That your light so shining. That you're so embracing. All these things, I had to go through a whole lot of dark, bad stuff. I had to go down in that dark tunnel where I was scared to sleep in the dark as a kid. I cried a lot, but I had to go down in that dark tunnel, all for that one person to find a moment in my life. At the age of 17, I had to walk with that angel as a kid and let the angel lead me down in that dark tunnel that showed me a small ball of light. Like, you got to get where I'm going with this, y'all. Like, it was a small ball of light, and when I saw that small ball of light as a kid, I didn't understand it. And I asked the angel, I said, so what's that? And the angel said, that's you. That's that little small ball of light that's going to do the most powerful things in the world, and he's going to manifest great things in the world. And I'm just like, this little ball of light is going to do all that? Like, we going down a dark tunnel. Like, I don't think you right. You know, I don't think you're right. As a little kid, you telling me all this stuff like this little ball of light is going to change the world. That little ball of light was what God had created, what God had divinely driven, that God had divinely purposed. That little ball of light that I didn't understand would grow up and have a testimony of heaven. You know what I'm saying? So it was so crazy. And when God told me all this, and I just heard him speak, and I saw the heavens light up, and I just saw God, and it was so calm, and it was just like the loudest thunder, the most beautiful lightning, but the most calm and swiftest voice you'll ever hear in your life. And I was just like, man, God, you're like putting it all into perspective for me, God. Like, I can hear you so clearly. And I said, God, I still, even though you're telling me all these things, I don't want to go back. I don't want to go back. I want to stay with you. I want to stay with you for an eternity. And God said, you can't, son. You can't stay with me, Byron. You can't stay. I got to send you back. I got to send you back. And I said, why, God? Why, God? Why you got to send me back? And God said, because the purpose that I placed inside your life has not yet been manifest in the earth, and it has not yet been fulfilled. I have to send you back. But what he did was he gave me the most beautiful, holiest kiss when I said I was baptized in church at the age of 12 in front of man and people and the masses. But God baptized me at the age of 17 with his love, with his anointing and his fire, and he sent me back. And as I went back, I could feel my spirit resurrect my soul. I could feel it. I could literally feel it. All this power surging through me. And before the doctors went out again and said that they had given up and that it was over, the nurse screamed out, wait, we have a pulse. It's faint, but wait. But in the time while the doctors thought they was being the miracle working the surgeon, the Holy Spirit was putting me back together on the bed. Every vessel that was torn, every ligament was torn, everything that was busted up, everything that was torn and burned, it was just like the Holy Spirit would put me back together, and he was doing it rapidly. Like, it was so fast, it was so crazy. Like, you were like, man, God, what? And then it was like the Lord was talking to me, feeding me with scriptures, feeding me with strength, feeding me with power, feeding me with encouragement. And it was so crazy, the outcome of it. Like, they thought I was gonna be paralyzed from my neck down. Like, they said, man, you'll never walk again, Byron. Like, if we remove these bullets, you would never walk again. And I was just like, I hear what you saying, Doc. But when I came back, I was unconscious for 3 days. I could not talk for 3 days. I couldn't really hear. I couldn't really see anything for 3 days. I was just unconscious for 3 days. I was out. But when I was able to talk and say a few words, the first person I told was my mom. I said, Mom, you would never believe what just happened, like the experience I just had. And I told her about it, and she said she believed me, but I know my mom probably like, oh Lord, his morphine or whatever type of painkiller drug they got him on, my baby's high as a kite. He's talking out of his head. He don't really know what he's saying, but I knew exactly what I was saying. It wasn't the painkillers. And I said, Mom, quote me at my word, in 7 days I'm getting out of this hospital. She looked at me like, boy, you can't walk, you can't eat right now, you're like still raw from the inside out, your flesh wounds are still raw, you have a feeding tube in your nose, like you got rods going down to your throat, you got steel staples in your chest, like you're not getting out of here in 7 days, son. I said, Mama, mark my word, I'm getting out of this hospital in 7 days. 7 days. And it's so funny, like I started learning the power in numbers. The power of 7 is perfection. God finishes great work. The number 8 is the number of new beginnings. I started playing with numbers. It was crazy. I said, Mom, in 7 days, I'm getting out of this hospital. I said it every single day. She said, baby, you can barely talk and walk and speak. Over a course of period of time, them 7 days, I got really sick. I caught pneumonia. I started having nightmares. I knocked the feeding tube out of my nose because I was having such a bad nightmare. The doc came in and said, son, I can't put the feeding tube back in you, so I don't have no way to nourish and give you nourishments because I don't want to cut you again. So what wound up happening is while I had the pneumonia and throwing up everywhere, I was only like 122 pounds. In a series, I lost 14, 15 pounds just from the pneumonia, being in that hospital, not being able to get no nutrients, not being able to get anything in my system. So I was just sitting there, but I wasn't starving. I didn't even feel like I was dying. Yeah, I had pneumonia, I had it, but I didn't feel sick. After a while, 3 days went by, I started to get around a little bit. I started to talk a little bit more. I started to feel a little bit better. Still couldn't really hardly walk. I still need the nurse to come bathe me and all this other stuff. I still had a catheter. I had a whole lot. It came out to be day 4. Nurse came in and said, hey, we're going to take you down and give you a diet test to see if you can swallow anything. Make sure that your chest is strong enough to where, like, if you eat anything or swallow anything, liquid, ice chips or whatever, your chest don't come busting open. So they took me down there. The first time I failed it. And so my mom was really like, oh my God, this boy is not getting out of this hospital no 7 days. He can't even swallow anything. 7 hours went by. Keep that number in mind. 7 hours went by. They came in again. They came to draw blood. I got so used to getting my blood drawn, like I didn't even wake up. I just threw my arm over the bed so they can stick me with the needle and get my blood. Came in, draw blood. They said, okay, it's been 7 hours. We're gonna take you down again in about another 30 minutes and give you another diet test to see if you can swallow anything. I said, all right, cool. They take me down. I swallowed it. I didn't fail the test, but I didn't pass it. They said, okay, we're gonna do it again just to make sure. This was day 4. I took it, came back, probably like an hour later, said, everything looks good, you passed the test. So they didn't give me any solid food. They started me off very small. I had ice chips. They let me order juice. I went crazy. I had so much water, orange juice, and grape juice. I didn't know what to do. I thought I was gonna turn into a great pitcher or whatever. I had so much juice, it was crazy. And so day 5 came around. They said, okay, we're gonna try your own food. Not something that's too heavy, too hard. They brought me breakfast. Demolished the breakfast. As I started to eat, I started to feel better. I started sharing my story. Day 5, the sheriff came up and the chief of police came up together. He came to my room and he wanted to ask me a series of questions like how the story is, what did I remember, what I didn't remember. But they wound up catching the guy that shot me because of the back license plate tag that I gave him before I like passed out or whatever. And they told me who it was. It's a really good close friend of the family for a long time since we were kids. And he told the chief of police to tell me that he was sorry. My family was in the room and I said, you know what? You tell him I forgive him. Everybody in that room looked at me like I was crazy. Like, because I understood. I understood the purpose behind it. What really was happening was bigger than me. It was bigger than me. And so, I don't know what he told him when he left, but I was just reading my Bible. I was reading my Bible. And as people came in, they was loving on me, bringing me food. Day 5 came, I was having 4-course meals. I was having them. And all of a sudden, I was eating everything from burgers, fries, seafood, steak, shrimp, you name it. Whatever I wanted, they went and got. Krispy Kreme donuts. I had a field day. I could literally have 8 birthday parties in one. I was eating. Day 6 came. I started to walk around on my own. Like, I didn't want the walker. They're like, you want to walk him down the hall? I'm like, sure. Day 6. I was walking around. It was the first time I took a bath by myself. The nurses didn't have to bathe me this time. They removed the catheter. Thank God. I don't ever want to feel that again, ever. But they removed the catheter. I was walking around. I was talking. I didn't feel as weak. I started to get my strength back. Later on, I rested up. I probably slept for like majority of that day and night. Day 7 came in. The doc said, we're going to run some tests. We're going to look you over, see how you healing up. We see you walking around, you're doing a lot better. Your voice box is getting back stronger. You're talking. He came in with some X-rays, some photographs. He said, before I show you this, I want to check out your flesh wounds, see how they're healing up. I want to look at your chest. So he started looking at my chest. The nurse came in, said the nurse gonna come in and perform some tests on your chest. If everything looks good, we could possibly get you out of here today. I said, Mom, it's day 7. Day 7. I said, by 12 o'clock, I'm gonna be out of here. She still didn't believe me. She still thought I was going crazy, okay? Nurse came in. She rubbed her finger up and down my chest on the steel staples, kept rubbing up and down, up and down. She said, does that hurt? I said, no, ma'am. She was like, does this hurt? She started plugging them. She's like, does that hurt? I'm like, no, ma'am. And then she started rubbing on it again. She said, does that hurt? Can you feel that? I'm like, I can feel it, but it doesn't hurt. She was like, okay. She started tapping on them again. She started to hit a little harder. She said, does that hurt? I said, no, ma'am. So what she did was she said, okay, I'm going to plug a couple of these staples out of your chest. Keep in mind, I had steel staples in my chest, big steel staples in my chest. So I'm going to plug a couple of these staples out of your chest and to see how much you bleed. If you bleed a lot, then we're going to have to keep you. But if it's not so bad, we could probably check you out. So the more staples she plucked, you know, I spotted a little blood, like little dots or whatever. She plucked more till she got to the very top of my neck where my flesh was like really soft. So she got the plucking. The further she got on my neck, the less I spotted blood. Crazy, right? All right. She said, well, your chest looks good. You know, she wiped me off, she cleaned me up, whatever. Then she kind of peeled the bandages off my flesh wound. I had 3 open flesh wounds. I had one that was in my shoulder, I had one that was in the middle, and I had one that was in my neck. The doc come in with x-ray and said, okay, I want to check out your flesh wound. I want to see how they look. I want to see if you got any bruised internal scars or tearings on your veins. Everything checked out good. And he was like, son, I want to show you your x-rays, okay? I know they probably didn't show you this, but I want to show you your x-rays. And he was like, when we first got you and we lost you, because you actually did die, son, we thought the bullet had destroyed your main artery in your neck. But then we got the x-rays and we had to look again. It missed you by 0.5 centimeters. So what do you think? Do you think that's a coincidence or a miracle? I said it was all God. The doctor said, you're lucky to be alive. I said, nah, doc, I'm blessed, but I'm alive. The nurses smiled, and then they told me, they were like, well, don't get hit by a bicycle. That just might kill you. They were like, you're about the fastest recovery we ever seen. You was so small, you was under 130 pounds, you lost a total of 14, 15 pounds while you was in the hospital, but yet you're walking and talking, and you smiling like ain't nothing happened. Because of the miracle. Like, if you understood the experience that happened outside of the body with it, you wouldn't be asking me that. And so about 11:45, the doc said, I'm gonna go down, I'm gonna talk to my staff, and I'm gonna come back and let you know we're gonna release you, we're gonna keep you. By 12:05, doc comes back in the room and said, well, son, you are all checked out, you good to go. He was like, we'll send up a wheelchair, we can wheel you down and wheel you to the car. I said, they put me in the wheelchair. They rolled me to the elevator. We get to the lobby of DCA, get to the first floor. We get to the door, and he said, we can wheel you out to the car. I grabbed the nurse's hand and said, no, ma'am, no, thank you. I don't need to be wheeled to the car. I'd rather walk, because sometimes when life beats you down, and like it really beats you down, and you're like, man, God, I just cannot seem to get up. But when you understand that your purpose or what and your dreams or what you're going after is bigger than you, and you be like, man, God, I'll continue to walk this thing. I will continue to be a walking miracle, because that's what I did at DCA. Instead of me being wheeled out like I'm some handicapped kid or whatever, I decided to stand and walk. Like, do you understand how powerful that was? Like, I was 17 years old with 3 fatal gunshot wounds to the neck. My chest was busted open. I had needles everywhere. I had IVs everywhere. Blood was gushing everywhere. I was pronounced deceased dead twice. And then that's nothing to rejoice and shout about? What? I can't play God that small. And then the testimony and experience that came behind it. Oh, I forgot to mention, the doctor even offered me to have the reconstruction surgery because I had really bad keloid on my skin. He offered it for me to have the reconstruction surgery. But I remember what God said, it's a living rock on my body. And as long as I have that rock on my body, people are going to ask me about my neck. And that was a chance to witness to the masses. So that's my chance to tell my testimony of heaven, my testimony of God. That the rock that's on my chest, I said, no, thank you, doc. I'll keep it just the way it is. It's just fine. Because what he told me was, it's a 50-50 chance that it'll work, Byron. It's a 50-50 chance that you will heal up right. You might not heal up right. I said, nah, dog, I healed up perfectly. It is just the way it is. And I left it at that. And he let me go. And I was just like, man, God, I would never forget this experience. And I was just like, man, you just never know. And I understood the higher purpose for it. At first, I was like, man, God used the lamb's blood to save a lost soul, to reinstill my friend's faith. No, that story was bigger than that. That story was for the masses. It wasn't for me to hold on to and be like, man, I got shot, and become a product of my environment. Be like, man, God, if you love me so much, you let this happen to me. I was like, what? No, man, that's a powerful story for me to go witness to the nation, to impact, to change lives, to revive dead souls. That was a testimony. Excuse me. Like, I couldn't play God that small. So the next time that you're going through adversity and you feel like you just can't make it and things that keep going and happening wrong in your life, just think about it. Is your dreams worth it? Yes, because God will take you through the mud just to bring you out standing tall, make you a standing tall pillar. You know, a pillar before the nations, a witness and light to the world, a joy and a powerful salt in the earth, the preserved honey for thousands of years. Like, don't ever look at it like, man, instead of like, why me, why me, why me? Say, God, why not me? Life tested me and I won. And the same thing can happen for you. Your dreams are real. Pursue your dreams with passion. Be passionate. Be passionate. Be passionate. Be passionate. Be persistent in your dreams, but be consistent in your action. Impact. Change lives. Talk to people. Love on people. Like, it's crazy. Can you do it? Yes. Is it worth it? Yes. Are you worth it? Yes. Everything you think is a mindset. Mindset. Everything. Everything. Which brings me to my last question. How do I get there? Oh man, such a simple answer. Keep walking. Keep walking. If life puts 100 rocks on you and you're falling down on one side, keep walking. Keep walking. Because see, all people really need to see is one person that keeps going. That's it. They only need to see one person keep going. My man Inky Johnson said it the best. He said, sometimes people don't need you to preach a sermon, they need you to live it. They need you to have lived one. My life from the age of my birth, this little preemie, mature baby boy that my mother had, October 8, 1986, barely made it to the emergency room with me. She was about to have me outside. God's driven plan. From my birth to the age of 32, been a walking light for dead souls. Purpose, determined, driven, impacting, transforming, speaking, revitalizing, reviving lives from the age of my birth to 32. And I say, you know what, God? I'll be your witness forever. I'll be your grand ambassador forever. If this is what you want me to do, I'll do it. Like, I felt the success. I know what it's like to be down here. I know what it's like to be up here. I know what it's like to be brought from here all the way back down here. What you got to understand is, tell God, whatever you need me to do, I'll do it. If you need me to go back to the army, I'll do it. I'll serve my country 4 years proudly. If you need me to go back to the army, I'll do it. If you need me to get shot to save somebody else, to be a witness and a testimony to somebody else, I'll do it. If you need me to go to hell on earth, I'll do it. If you need me to go to war, if you need me to go be a warrior, if you need me to go do this week, that week, that week, this month, that month, this year, next year, I'll do it. Because see, what I learned about the journey is, it's a beautiful process. But within that beautiful process, not everything's going to be Gucci and gold. Not everything's going to be pretty. Not everything is going to be sunshine. Because see, the thing about it is, when it's raining all the time, people get grouchy. They be like, man, I wish the rain would go away. I wish it would go away. I wish the rain would just stop. I'm tired of getting wet. But then when it's blazing hot outside, everybody was like, man, God, it's so hot. Can you give us some shade? Like, we're cooking out here. But see, when you understand and when you mature here in the mind and you mature in the spirit, you mature in your heart, you start to realize that the rain and the sun work simultaneously together. You can't appreciate one without the other. You can't. That's how things grow. If it rained for 13 days straight and you didn't plant a field of seeds, the seeds need the water so your roots can grow. But then they also need that sunlight too. They work hand in hand. It's like a perfect yin and yang. But if you're not mature here, you won't see that. So can you make it? Can you do it? The answer is yes. You just got to keep going. You just got to keep going. God will never leave you. If God gave you a vision, He gave you a plan, He gave you an idea. If He gave you tools, no matter what the vision is, no matter what the plan is, no matter what the ideal is, just know when it is purpose driven and when it's divinely, and when you speaking these things into the earth that you want out of life and they become manifested, know it's bigger than you. It's always bigger than you. And as long as it's bigger than you and you keep just walking in your purpose, even when you don't know how things gonna work out, that's called faith. That's a nugget. Even when you don't know how things are gonna turn out, that's called faith. That's a nugget. So even when you don't know how things are gonna work out, but you know you're darting towards the right direction, you don't never have to worry about being broke. You don't never have to worry about being unhappy. You don't never have to worry about the opinions of others, because you know it's mission-based. And when it's mission-based, here's the key. There is no person or persons in hell or in the earth that can stop you. Thank you guys for your time. My name is Byron. I love you. Stay tuned. More content's on the way. I love y'all.